Hi, I'm Sandra Garratt from Sandra Garratt Design at sandragarratt.com, and today we're going to be talking about how to sew a lace collar. So what you'll need will be some lace or a lace collar that you already have, some fine sewing needles, your thread, and also a pair of fine sewing scissors. And with the lace, it's usually on a kind of a tulle net background. It's very delicate, so you want to make sure that you're using very fine scissors and fine pins as well. So in this case, I have a piece of large overall lace that I really liked the pattern of. And in this case, I was wanting to take a piece of this, a section of the motif, and it's almost kind of bars of stripes in this with different motifs that are in the lace pattern. And here, I'm really liking this row of kind of floral shapes that repeats through it. So what we're going to do is taking a pair of very sharp sewing shears, is cutting along the tulle motif in between the embroidery. You don't want to be cutting into the embroidery necessarily because it will unravel eventually. So we trim through here, and then we're wanting to cut through this bar here because we want a seam allowance on the top so we can attach the lace. And this is a great way of utilizing a lace motif where you don't necessarily want to do an entire lace garment. So here we've done a strip that's approximately 2 inches wide, about 2.5 inches with the seam allowance. Now for a full collar, you'd want to probably cut a longer length, but for our demonstration, we're going to be using this. And then you can use the rest of your lace for a full garment or another project. And what you'll need to know when you do this, other than not cutting into your motif pattern directly because you want it to stay intact, is then you'll need a very fine needle and your thread. And what you'll do first is a basting line along the top, something like this. And for demonstration purposes, I'm using a very heavy needle and a heavier quality thread here, just so it'll show up. But in real life, you'd want to use a very fine needle and a much lighter weight sewing thread as well. So you'll run a basting stitch, a loose basting stitch, along the top here. And you'll run all the way along the length of your goods. And then when you're ready to attach your collar, you'll have a stable binding to be working with, and you can also gather this slightly. You can pull your thread to gather this slightly if you want to create a gathered effect or a fuller lace collar on your garment. So as long as the collar is, you just continue your basting stitch for the entire length of it, and as you could see, then you can gather that up, and then as you pin it onto your garment, then you can adjust those gathers and make sure everything is sort of harmoniously placed and your gathers are evenly distributed. So thanks for joining me, Sandra Garratt, on how to sew a lace collar.